so excited to welcome one of my fellow hoopstresses who spearheads our coverage of the WNBA. She's the founder and executive director of Grow the Game and also a co-host of the Chicago Sky podcast. Welcome to the show, Subria Whitaker.
Thank you. Thank you for the intro. Hi.
How are you? You saw that there were some headlines. Oh, okay. Sorry. You saw there were some headlines flashing by the screen of the news about the WNBA possibly expanding sooner maybe than we expected. I want to just give the audience a little background on you because you started an organization, Grow the Game, and the whole theme of this year with the NBA. And I mean, it's been the past couple of years, but there's a big push, growing the game, expansion. There's more games available to watch on TV and other places to watch games. There's really a big effort to push the women's game forward. And you're definitely one of the people who are a part of that effort. So just wondering your thoughts on expansion, what cities do you think we should expand to, and just your thoughts on the news, because people have different opinions on the idea of the WNBA expanding.
Yeah. So as far as cities go, I think that right now the 12 markets that the WNBA teams are currently in is a little skewed. Being from Chicago and being in Chicago, I can go to a Sky game easily, 2.5 hours. I can go to an Indiana Fever game, a quick flight to Atlanta. That's nothing for me. But yeah, I want to see more in the South. I think when you think about NCAA basketball, you think a lot about the SEC now and how dominant they're becoming. So I would love to see another team in the South. I know they're looking at somewhere in Tennessee. I think that's a great idea. I think, I know your fandom lies in California with the NBA, but I don't want too many teams in California for the W. So I actually kind of want them to stay clear a little bit and not get too California happy. But I mean, I think expansion is great. I think it's an exciting idea. I just think that with some of the issues that we've seen with team travel and how it might be hard to get from Vegas or Seattle to New York, I think that maybe expansion isn't necessarily the right move in 2024, definitely down the line. But I would like to see the league start with adding more roster spots. I mean, now it's the beginning of the season, but we are seeing so many teams with the lack of a bench and signing a new hardship contract every other week. And I think if they have more roster spots, they wouldn't need to sign as many hardship contracts, and it will open up more opportunities for the players who deserve to be in the league but aren't. So maybe do that first and then go ahead and switch to expansion.
Yeah, that's a pretty popular take. And I was curious if you were going to say that, that we just need to add more roster spots to some of the teams. Okay, so let's get into the season because it's been a pretty lively season. And right now, as I mentioned, you host a podcast for the Chicago Sky, but there's a few teams that are people are talking about that are in the running maybe for contention this year. Yes. And the Sky aren't necessarily being talked about as much, even though they're the reigning champs. So yes. What are your thoughts on the teams who are potential contenders for this season?
Yeah, so it's funny that you say that because Connecticut Sun is one of them, and they've been one of them for many years, and they like to go on this theme where this hashtag is disrespect, and you capitalize the CT because of Connecticut. It's cute. But I think, Connecticut last year, they had Coach of the Year, the MVP, most improved player. So at this point, they're not being disrespected anymore. I think the disrespect is now with Chicago and how people are not considering them a real threat. I mean, I get it. In the standings, we're number 6, but guess what? That's how we were last year when we went on an 8-game losing streak without Candace Parker, and we ended up coming to win it all. So I think people need to put more respect on our names. I mean, hey, if the WNBA had to go and change the entire playoff schedule because you were knocking off top teams in single elimination games, people need to start talking about you and people need to be a little worried. But right now, I'm going to go with Chicago, Connecticut, Las Vegas, and the Washington Mystics are at the top of my watch out list for now.
Okay, so the Aces, they had a new coaching, change over there. Becky Hammon came on board, and they're just scorching. You know, the offense is beautiful. They're hitting threes. They just look really good right now. That doesn't mean that they're going to win it all, but obviously they're one of the contending teams. So what do you think about all the changes Becky Hammon has made there?
I think that right now, Coach of the Year is hers to lose. I saw a lot of articles the other day where she was 9-1, and that was the best 10-game start in history for a new WNBA coach. To make history, there's a reason, and I think that the changes that Becky Hammon is making has a lot of other front offices looking at their coaches who have been there for a while. And the expectations are going to start to rise when you have a new coach coming in like that. Granted, she is a former player and she got a lot of experience in the NBA, but the changes she's made, I mean, even the coaches are matching on the bench with the hoodie and blazer combo. I mean, everything that Becky Hammon is doing, from the outfits to the front office staff and the changes she's, making with adding coaches and just her players, is outstanding. She's doing a phenomenal job. And they did unfortunately fall to Connecticut last night. But I think if you're talking playoffs, Las Vegas Aces are in it for sure.
Yeah. And so you talked about potential awards, and you also mentioned like the Mystics as a contender, and they have a rookie on their team who might be a potential contender for Rookie of the Year. Or do you think that's Ryan Howard's?
I think Rookie of the Year is Ryan Howard's to lose. I really do. I mean, we talk about it all the time, and I think a lot of people who watched Ryan Howard play in Kentucky kind of knew that she was going to be the first round draft pick, and she had the motor that people were saying that she didn't have, and she has completely dominated. But I think it's important to note that all the top three rookies in my book, being the top three picks, and Ryan Howard, Nalissa Smith in Indiana, and Shakira Austin in DC, they're all in different positions. Atlanta is completely good at their team and is essentially rebuilding, but you cannot tell because Ryan Howard will take you to the basket. She will make you pay if you don't come out to the perimeter and guard her. And she's completely just changing, to me, the game, just breaking records with the most points as a rookie in like the first 3 games. And then, Indiana also kind of rebuilding, and Nalissa Smith kind of having to take over sometimes. I mean, she has some great vets to help her out. But then when you have a team as stacked as Washington, D.C., I don't think Shakira Austin is really getting the minutes to really compare necessarily to Nalissa and Ryan Howard, but it's the 3 of them. But right now, Ryan Howard is absolutely at the top of my list.
Okay. And are there any awards that Brittany Sykes may be up for?
Yeah, so
I just had to ask.
Sykes, yes, this is of course. At this point, like an unofficial hoopstress. Shout out to her for coming on our spaces the other day and participating in that giveaway. I don't know if there would be an award for, I guess, like a fan favorite or most engaging player with fans, but if that was an award, I would absolutely give it to her. But I mean, people have been talking about Brittany Sykes for her defense. Last year, she went viral in the bubble for a huge block on a 6'9" Brittany Griner, and Brittany Sykes is only 5'9", and then she's blocking Ariel Atkins in the step over, blocking Sabrina Ionescu for a buzzer beater, and she's just completely changing the way that players are driving down the court. In the game against Phoenix the other day, Skylar Diggins-Smith literally pump faked her on the breakaway because she knew she was going to get blocked. Kayla McBride in Minnesota said, I had to do the reverse layup because I knew Brittany was behind me and she was going to block it. So if she can get consistent again with the blocks and the steals, I know she's probably doing a lot as point guard and maybe defense isn't the priority right now. But if she can get back to that defender that got Defensive Player of the Year in Australia, I think she might really be there this time. Second runner-up last year, but I think she might really be there to take it this year.
We can't, conclude without talking about Brittany Griner. You mentioned her, Brittany's block on her, but it's just been a story hanging over the league. And so just your thoughts on Brittany Griner. Like, I know she's in all of our thoughts and prayers and we just need to bring her home, but just what are your thoughts on what the impact of the situation is and on the season this year?
I mean, it's really hard because
not really more you can say than that, right?
I mean, I just want to say that, like I said, being in Chicago, I had the pleasure of attending all the finals games last year and actually running into Brittany and having a conversation with her about overseas and her spirit. I mean, people probably don't think that about her just because, naturally she's, again, 6'9", and she's known as this force on the court, but she is one of the sweetest people, and nobody deserves this at all.
No one at all.
It's heartbreaking to think about it.
Hey, thanks for watching Brother from Another on YouTube. Make sure you hit subscribe before you leave, and be sure to watch us 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Peacock. Appreciate you.